This is the model of appreciative inquiry. Let us first understand, what is appreciation. Appreciation means, you say some positive words. If you look at what is appreciation, it is actually saying some positive words, right? So what happens when somebody appreciates you? The first thing happens, change takes place is you get a small smile on your face, right? So when you get smile, what's the background of it? When you smile, that means you are happy. There is a flow, rush of happiness in you that somebody appreciated you. Now, this is the main backbone of this model called appreciative inquiry. It says that it talks about inquiry in team. Okay, it talks about inquiry being conducted in teams. So it says that whenever team members come together to discuss anything, what is the general modus operandi? Talk about problems or issues that we encounter. What happens, when we come together, immediately we define the problem. XYZ is our problem. Then we do brainstorming. We have seen that, we have studied that in problem solving. Remember, in managerial skills class, the second step is by brainstorming we generate alternatives. The third step is by nominal group technique or Pareto analysis. We try to segregate the more influencing issues, and then we try to take up the solution which is more preferred by the members, and we try to take an action on this. That is how we do problem solving normally, right? But here is a little bit different. Here they suggested this actually comes, appreciative inquiry comes in team intervention. It says that whenever you conduct a meeting to solve any problem, don't directly start with the problem and try to reach a solution. Rather than make it more meaningful by adding conversation. I just mentioned before that it uses the social construction approach, isn't it? And previously we have discussed this approach elaborately. Social construction approach focuses on conversation and interpersonal relationship building. It says that the more interactions you have, the better it is to develop understanding. It reduces resistance, isn't it? Even if you want something and you get an opportunity to speak about it in front of the authorities, that also gives many times relief to you, and which can reduce your resistance. So social construction approach has been used in designing appreciative inquiry by these people, in which they say that there are 4 steps. Okay, this is the first step, this is the second step, this is the third one, and this is the 4th step. The 4th step, discovery, says that when you start a meeting, talk about what has been the achievements of the team members. Who are team members, what competencies do they have, and why they could achieve, whatever they have achieved. In second step, once the moment I talk about how your past has been good, what past good experiences you share with us, the moment you can imagine, you feel very good, isn't it? You feel very relaxed, and as Shipra mentioned, you feel very confident. The moment you get all these feelings together, you develop something called a positive feeling. Okay, so whenever you have this positive feeling within you, remember, whatever task you try to do with a positive approach, that's a building approach, that helps you to lead to better solutions in your life. So the second step, they say, is once you are clear with, like, once you have discussed the good things that people have done in your team, the achievements that people have accomplished in their life. Next, you move towards the future. Whenever we talk about dream is about future. What should we do next as a team? What should be our next target, or what should be our next goal or objective, right? And once you start dreaming, you share your dream with the team members. It should not be only your dream, it should be the dream of the whole team. Now, how can the whole team can dream about a particular thing? By conversation, when you share it, isn't it? When you share with your team members, make them understand why we need to achieve that particular objective, what will be its value proposition, what will be its benefits, how this is aligned to the mission and objective of the organization. When you do such conversations, people get involved, right? So sharing these experiences makes you involve with the process. So once you get involved in the process, your participation increases. And another thing which gets influenced because of involvement, please put it down somewhere, that is commitment, right? The more you will be involving yourself in the process, the more committed you will be. And the lesser you are involved in any process, the less commitment you will have in the process. So this relationship, always remember this, because as an HR person, your core objective in the organization is to, manage people. And managing people is very, very tough job, because you don't know what's going on in somebody's mind, how their psychology gets formed and how they are going to behave the next day. So, but therefore, you will have to inject such practices in your organization so that you create a very positive and healthy, harmonious environment in the organization. That is a core objective nowadays. If their environment is good, it's positive, it is developing, it is innovative, then good people will stay in your organization, or else not. Okay, so therefore this is about dream. So once you share once you have shared the dreams with your team members, the third step is you design. Now, design what? You design your action plan. Right? What do you design? You design your action plan. Action plan means how are you going to achieve the dream, right? Whatever consensus through the sharing process comes up, how are you going to attain it? Okay, what process or what will be your action plan? What steps you will be developing, which is referred to as co-constructing in their words, in the words of the people who have given this model, they call it co-constructing. You construct these steps, okay? You make a construction of how you are going to implement the dreams and make it come true. So once you do that, finally you deploy. That means you actually work on it, and you start working on it by building networks, by including people, inclusion, okay, inclusion and developing commitment among people. They say that when you start implementing the action plan, when you plan out how you are implementing, inclusion is very, very important. And I have discussed with you many times inclusion and diversity. Wherever there is diversity, HR people need to build an environment with increases inclusiveness of such people or such category of people in the main process of the organization, right? So this is the main takeaway of appreciative inquiry. So though appreciative inquiry came long back in 1987, in 1990s, but the use of appreciative inquiry has been, very restricted because it takes more time. The issue with appreciative inquiry is it takes more time. You can note it down somewhere, please. appreciative inquiry requires, first thing is it requires more time. It's a time taking process. It's not like typical problem solving process that you came together, you quickly, you know, mentioned that this is the problem, this is what our sales has fallen, so therefore this action, these are the reasons, and therefore these are the action to be taken, and meeting is over. No, in this case it takes more time, because you know, you need to build an environment of conversation around people. So that's one issue with it. And another issue is a very important role of leadership, or the leader. Focus on developing this system, and that is the reason why they train their leaders actually in conducting appreciative inquiry. They can sit with their team members, and here the role of leader becomes very, very important. If the leader is not efficient enough to conduct appreciative inquiry, then, you know, it may not lead the results for which this was formed. One more thing I want to put forth here, that why do you think appreciative inquiry came up? It came up because this was the time in 1980s in western part of the world, most of the organizations started using team-based work structures. Okay, the organization structures in 1980s in the western part, in the Europe and America, the organization started working with teams. Before that, it was a typical vertical hierarchy. With shift from organization structure from vertical to flat structure, or from vertical to more team-based structures, this appreciative inquiry of 4D model was developed, so that how you can make team more what should I say, perform better. Point number one. Point number two is, see, in a vertical hierarchy, what happens? There is a very strict demarcation of power, isn't it? Whenever you see an organization, you look at the Indian bureaucracy, if you look at the power management from an IS officer to the down person, there is so much of power centered. These positions are so much power centered. But if you look at the organizations which are working with teams like Infosys or TCS, or, you know, most of the software companies, if you look at the way, even you look at Toyota, how they have work in teams, if you look at the team thing, what happens in team, the power centric behavior is very low. Right? People usually treat every other person as a colleague or a peer group. So the kind of feeling, the kind of, influencing ability is very different in a team as compared to a vertical hierarchy, right? And that is the reason why, because in 1980s and 90s, organizations restructured themselves from vertical hierarchy to team-based flat structures. That was the reason why this method was taken by organization development consultants to develop the work environment, or to develop the contribute in development of the organization.